Hi, welcome to our video education session on salt. My name is Julie and I'm one of the registered dietitians in cardiac rehab at St. Mary's General Hospital. Today we will be discussing sodium for heart health. First, let's review our agenda. We will be discussing why we care about sodium, how much we currently consume versus how much we actually need, and finally, specific action steps so that you can start practicing and implementing some of the changes that we are talking about. So why do we care about sodium in our diet? Well, salt, or more specifically sodium, raises blood pressure, and high blood pressure or hypertension increases the risk of heart attack and stroke. Hypertension also increases the risk of chronic kidney disease. If you don't already have high blood pressure, odds are that someday you will. Roughly 80 to 90% of our population eventually go on to develop high blood pressure as they get older. Now let's take a look at how much sodium we actually consume. The average individual consumes upwards of 4,000 milligrams of sodium per day. It's recommended for heart health that we consume less than 2,300 milligrams per day, which is equal to about a teaspoon of salt. Now, 2,300 milligrams is the maximum you would want to consume. Most individuals are able to survive on much less, typically 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. Using that target, most individuals are consuming 4 to 8 times the amount of sodium that they need per day. So where is all this sodium coming from? Probably one of the most common misconceptions I hear is that clients often feel they're not consuming much sodium because they never use a salt shaker. If you take a look at the slide on the screen, you'll notice that the smallest portion of sodium we are consuming is coming from the salt shaker, a total of 11% added during cooking and at the table. A small portion is naturally present in fresh whole foods, but the overwhelming majority of sodium that we consume is coming from processed foods and restaurant meals at about 77%. Removing the salt shaker from your home is a great place to start to help reduce your sodium intake, but the largest impact will be had by addressing those processed foods and restaurant meals. Now let's take a look at how much sodium we add to foods when we process them. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have our unprocessed food. Now, the sodium in the majority of these foods is naturally occurring apart from the cheddar cheese. If we take a closer look at pasta, you can see it has very little sodium, 5 milligrams per serving. Yet if we add 1 cup of jarred or canned pasta sauce, that number jumps to 800 milligrams. A similar situation happens with our cucumber. When we turn it into a dill pickle, the sodium content goes from 2 milligrams to almost 400 milligrams. Fresh salmon naturally contains a small amount of sodium at 56 milligrams per serving. If choosing canned salmon, that number increases to almost 300 milligrams. Now, salmon provides us with valuable omega-3 fats. We want you to consume sufficient amounts of omega-3 fats, and canned salmon is a convenient, economical way to obtain this essential fatty acid. Ideally, you would choose a no salt added canned salmon, which would have a similar sodium content to our fresh salmon. But if you still have some salted canned salmon in your cupboard, you can make it fit into your diet by reducing other sources of sodium at that meal. For instance, you may choose to have your salted canned salmon on low sodium crackers in place of 2 slices of highly salted bread. If we move on to our cheese category, you can see we start out by listing the sodium content of block cheese. Now, it's a salted product and has about 176 milligrams of sodium per 1.5 ounces. On the other side of the slide, you can see the highly processed cheese slices, the ones found in the cellophane wrapper or cheese in a jar, has more than double the amount of sodium than what's found in block cheese. Lastly, let's look at our coffee products. 1 cup of drip coffee with 1 teaspoon of cream and sugar added provides 15 milligrams of sodium. The majority of that sodium found naturally in the cream. If we compare this to our highly processed powdered cappuccino or hot chocolate mix, we can see that they contain drastically more sodium at 250 to 360 milligrams of sodium per serving. These are sweet beverages that most individuals would not consider salty. So how much sugar do you think they need to add to a hot chocolate to mask the amount of sodium you would find in a dill pickle? Quite a bit. This example shows that even highly processed sweet foods contain a large amount of sodium. So how do we determine how much hidden sodium is in a product? Well, that's where the nutrition facts table comes in. On our nutrition facts table, you will find sodium about 2/3 of the way down. First, read the serving size, followed by the amount of sodium in the product. Ideally, we would like you to aim for less than 200 milligrams or under 8% sodium per serving. Foods with up to 400 milligrams or 15% can fit on occasion, and typically anything over 400 milligrams or 15% per serving should be left on the grocery store shelf. Now, what about other salts such as sea salt, kosher salt, or even Himalayan pink salt? Most salts have a similar sodium content as table salt, about 2,300 milligrams per teaspoon, so are not a healthier replacement. Unsalted herbs and spices should be used for flavor for foods in place of salt. A few tips to take with you today. Snack on whole foods that are naturally lower in sodium, such as fruits, vegetables, plain yogurt, or nuts and seeds. Try flavoring your foods with real seasonings, such as onion, garlic, celery, and fresh herbs. The fresh variety tend to be more flavorful than the dried variety. And be sure to purchase non-seasoned meat, poultry, fish, and tofu products, as the seasoned variety can have added salt to plump up the weight. Now, lastly, if you have any specific questions regarding your own personal diet, feel free to book a consult with one of our registered dietitians. Thanks for listening.